I'm Taylor Vitani, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Living Show. Today is going to be a little different than our normal living shows because today we are in the kitchen. And I'm here with my new friend, Cynthia Jacola Zaleski. That's right?
Yes.
And we are going to be baking her famous caramel apple pecan pie, right. So if you don't know or if you weren't there, at the Shelby Township Art Fair, we had a pie contest, and this is our winner. So we are so excited to have her in today to show us how to make this brilliant pie. So I'm going to kind of let you lead me because I don't make pies as well as you do. So I'm going to watch how you do this.
Okay.
So what do we start with?
The first thing we're going to do is probably just put together some of the stuff that's going to go in with the apples. So it's part of the filling.
Okay.
So what we're going to need is a little bit of sugar, flour, and the kosher salt.
Okay, do you need these
And
over here?
Yes.
Perfect.
So we're just
Flour,
going to
sugar.
start with a scoop of, just a small scoop of flour. And just about a spoonful or so of sugar.
Now this is going to be starting off the pie itself, not the crust or anything, correct?
Right. And just a little bit of kosher salt.
Now
And this is coarse salt.
Is there a secret ingredient in this pie that kind of makes it what it is?
My
that's
own
different?
caramel.
Your own caramel. Ooh. Okay.
Okay, so we just want to give that a quick stir.
Okay.
And we can add a little bit of cinnamon to this.
Wonderful. So how long have you been baking for?
Oh, a long time, since I was probably in grade school,
My.
which is a long time ago. Don't tell anybody.
Okay.
My family had fruit trees in the backyard, and I was always tasked with, go pick some apples and make a pie.
Okay, so did your parents teach you?
My mom kind of taught me some stuff in the kitchen, but mostly self-taught. It's like,
Yeah?
ooh, what do I want to make today?
That's
Let's go.
even
Yeah.
cooler. I like that.
Yeah. So we're just going to use this to basically coat up the chopped up apples.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do next. So we're just going to start chopping these.
And if there's anything, I know I'm not a wizard in the kitchen like you are, but if there's anything you need me to do, I am here for you.
Okay, well, tell you what, if you would like to start chopping more apples, I'll start coring
Sure.
these.
You want all these chopped?
Sure. You want to swap places? Since we don't have a peeler,
Right.
we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way with a paring knife. And just cut in chunks. I like a chunkier apple
Okay.
pie. Most
that?
people do the slices. But I want a nice bite of apple.
Oh, yeah. I'll just do it in these kinds of sections then.
So this is probably the longest part of preparing the pie. And other than waiting for everything to be refrigerated or frozen, this is probably the worst of it.
Or
Yeah,
the
it's like-
best.
yeah,
Depends
or
on
the
how you
best,
look
yeah.
at it.
You always got tasked as a kid with peel the potatoes for dinner. Yeah, this is.
It's relaxing for many people. For me, apparently, not so much.
And then every once in a while, you just give it a little shake to coat the apples,
Okay.
and it keeps them from sticking together. And when it bakes, it takes on the flavor of the cinnamon.
It already smells good. I can
Oh,
smell
I'll tell you, nothing like a home-baked apple pie in the kitchen.
it. Okay, Cindy, so we've chopped up the apples. Now, what is our next move here?
Okay, so we just want to give them a quick stir, just so that all of the apples are coated with our sugar mix.
Is there a certain number of apples that kind of work with the measurement of
You know, if you're using smaller apples, and depending on the size of the pie pan,
Okay.
you know, it varies. We're using, I think, a 9-inch, 8 or 9 inch, and about 5 or 6 small to medium apples. You don't want to go too small because it's a pain in the butt to
Oh, yeah.
peel. You know, it's so. But
tiny.
the bigger apples, I mean, you can maybe get away with nice sized apples.
All right, cool.
So, and the reason we're doing this is just giving it a quick stir is to coat the apples just so they don't turn brown. I don't use lemon juice in the pie. A lot of people do,
Okay.
but for now that's good.
All
So
right.
we're just going to set that aside for
All
later,
right.
and we will start working on the crust.
Do you want to switch with me, or you want to stay over there?
I think I'm good
Okay.
right here.
Cool.
So for the crust, we're going to need some flour, a little bit of sugar, kosher salt, and some butter.
Okay. Do you need
That's
the butter?
in the freezer.
I will
We're
get
going
that
to
for
keep
you.
it there until we absolutely
Okay.
need it, because we're going
Sounds
to chop that. So if you would tell me how much flour,
Let's see. Are we looking for filling or for
the crust should be up on the top.
pie crust? Okay. So we got 2 3/4 cup all-purpose flour.
So there's one. It doesn't have to be exact. Some people measure by, you know, cups. Some go by weight.
Okay.
So it depends on.
I've done it
You know,
both ways, and
how
I've
particular you
gotten it
wanna
wrong
be.
each time.
All right, that's 2.5.
Okay. And then it says 2 teaspoons of sugar.
All right.
We're gonna eyeball that.
Yeah, we're just gonna eyeball it.
All right.
It depends on too how sweet you like your crust.
Super sweet.
Okay, and a little bit of kosher salt.
Now the salt, does it have to be real thick, or does it matter?
I like the coarse salt.
Okay.
It just kind of blends in, and it makes the sweetness of the pie come out, believe it or not,
Okay.
or the crust. So just a little shake in there. Give it a good little stir. Just to mix it up, and now we can take the butter out of the freezer.
So we've got 1, 2, and there's a half of one in here.
Now some people like to use lard. Some people like to use Crisco. Some people like half and half.
Okay.
You know, it just depends. So this is basically a pâte brisée. It's a French pastry crust.
Okay.
I like the butter. The better the butter, sometimes the better the crust.
Now, is it better if the butter is frozen like this?
I like it frozen because that way it doesn't melt, and the more frozen it is when you're putting this together, as it warms up just a little bit, it's going to start smushing, and the more you mix it, that's how you get your flakes.
Okay. Makes sense.
And the whole object is to have a nice flaky crust.
So just cut it into small kind of little cubes.
Just little chunks.
Okay.
You know, if you want to shave it, but then you got to work really fast with shaved butter.
Because it'll melt before
It'll
you get
melt, yes.
it. Right. Okay. So what do we do now?
So I just want to coat this butter a little bit with the mixture,
Okay.
and then we're going to get down and dirty and
Oh.
use our hands
All right.
to smash it all together.
Good thing I wore a nice pink shirt today.
All right. Now another thing, usually pâte brisée, they just use water. I like to give it a little bit more, a whole flavor. I can't even think of the word right now. A richer flavor.
Okay.
I use whole milk.
All right.
So
well, I will
grab
get
that
that
out
for
of
you.
the fridge for me.
Here you go.
Thank you. And we're just going to add a little bit at a time, probably about 5 to 6 tablespoons total.
Okay.
Just give it a tiny mix. And you just want this to start holding together. You
And
don't
you'll
want
just
it
add a little as you go.
little at a time.
Let me add a little more.
Little bit. Another splash. Oh,
More?
no, yeah.
I was going to say, I'd
There
rather
we
do
go.
less than more.
Yeah.
So how like, how much does this need to stick in order to know that you've got enough?
You want it to just start sticking together.
So not like fully stick. Okay.
No. So we're just going to start smashing it. This is going to start, you can already see the flaking.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so we're kneading, and you've got it just about how you want it, right?
Just about together. See how it's starting to come together?
Right, but it's
Okay.
still dry enough to...
Yes.
Yep.
So you're going to want to separate this. This is enough crust for a 2-crust pie
All right.
or a 1-crust pie. If you want to decorate the top, you can braid, you can use lattice, you know, all kinds of fun stuff. So we just want to press a little bit more into that one. So you can still see the pats of butter, the little chunks, but it is starting to flake. So we're just going to press this together. You don't want to overwork the dough because then it becomes too tough.
Right.
So we're just going to wrap this in a little saran wrap, kind of smush it into a disc.
Man, that saran wrap didn't cut very good, but I got some
That's
anyway.
okay. All right, so see how you can see all the butter?
Right,
And-
still see the butter chunks.
Yes. So we've
And
got it
that's
in a
why
nice.
you freeze them first, right? All
Yeah.
right. See, I learned
Those
something new every day.
little bubbly pockets is what's going to make the flakes.
Ugh, I can already taste it now.
Let's get this one together. So it may look a little dry in the plastic wrap there, but as it sits in the refrigerator, it'll come together a little bit more.
Now, what's next?
Okay, next we're going to start on the sauce, so we're going to have to move over to the stove.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we have done all the apple chopping and we've put the things in the refrigerator for the crust, what is the next step here over the oven?
This is my favorite part. This is part of the filling for the pie. And it's kind of a caramely flavor, but have you ever had those Hostess pie things when you were a kid?
Yes.
With the icing on the top
love
and just
them.
that creamy filling?
Yes.
That's what I wanted in my pie, so I kind of created it. I couldn't find my normal apple juice, so we're going to do it
That's
this
all
time
right.
with a little bit of apple cider.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so we're just going to throw some of this in the pan.
And how much of it do you put in?
It depends again on how big the pie pan is, so it's always better to make a little bit more than not enough.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to use some cornstarch to thicken it up.
All right.
And it might seem like a lot, but you don't taste it.
Is cornstarch in there a little bit of a less is more or more is more type of situation?
It depends on how thick you want it.
Okay. Trial and error. I suppose,
Yeah, it is. So we're just going to let this absorb. You don't want to stir it, otherwise you end up with lumps,
Okay, so you
like
don't stir
gravy.
it. Okay.
No, just let it settle to the bottom. It'll be a thick little rock down there, but once you start to break it up a little bit and smooth it out,
Okay.
it's like a perfect gravy.
What temperature do you have it, will you have it on, and how long does it normally take to get about that point?
I'm going to turn it on high. As long as you don't scorch the bottom, if you've got a great pot, you don't have to worry about it. You're just going to let it bubble and thicken up.
Okay.
Okay, so as soon as this melts, we're going to add some brown sugar to get that caramel flavor and go from there.
Okay, so we are boiling now. So now we're going to put this into here. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
we're just going to take it off the heat after it's boiled a little bit, just to make sure that it's thick enough.
Okay.
As it cools, it'll thicken some more. But you can see that nice, beautiful caramel color.
Mm-hmm.
And this tastes so good.
I bet.
So we're just going to let that cool off for a minute. And then we'll be able to add it to the apples.
Okay. Okay, so next step now is transferring what's in here right into that bowl with the apples.
We've
All
got
right.
a nice thick sauce.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And we're just going to pour it in. Now the apples have been coated with a little bit of flour and whatnot.
Okay. Oh, looks like I could eat that sauce all by itself.
Oh, I have many a time.
Okay.
All right. And oh, we need the big spoon, or a big spoon.
Here you go.
Just gonna give it a quick mix.
Oh, it smells really good.
Oh, this smells better than
I wish
the
I had.
Apple Festival.
I know. I was gonna say I wish they made candles that smelled that good. I'd be burning it all day.
So, yeah, this one came out nice and thick and creamy.
My gosh, you could just sell that. That'd be good, right?
I thought about it.
I would eat it.
Yeah, I do a lot of canning at home, so this is. I
looks-
haven't tried it yet, but
it
yeah,
looks
it's
very
gonna
tasty.
Be one of those things that gets canned as well.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a pretty good mix. So from here,
Yeah. What's the next step? I'll move this.
you pour this into your prepared pie crust.
Okay.
Okay. I blind bake mine for about 10-15 minutes just so it doesn't slump.
Okay.
Okay. So what I do is I'll take the pie pan, put the dough in it, take a parchment paper, and start folding. It's almost like origami. Okay, and you just make a nice little triangle,
Okay.
and you keep cutting it down, and then you make a little circle. You just snip it off. We don't have kitchen shears, so that's not going to work.
It's all right.
So you want to make it just a little bit bigger than the pie pan, and then you start snipping.
Okay.
Snip the edges, and then it makes a nice little fan in there,
Okay.
and you pour in your pie beads.
All right. Now explain what these do for people like me who don't bake.
These are pie weights. They're ceramic.
Okay.
So you just basically would pour them in the pan, and it holds the shell down to the bottom, and because don't forget, it's a flaky crust. It's going
Okay.
to puff.
Okay.
And you can even use puff pastry, but you want it to be weighted down so it doesn't become
So
too
these
hot.
go first then?
Nope, you put your pie crust in,
Okay.
then you put your parchment, then you pour these on top.
Okay.
So these are wonderful little gadgets.
I
love
see.
them. Okay, so once we do that, all we have to do is make the topping.
Okay.
Okay, so all we're going to do for that is we're going to take some brown sugar, quick oats, and some pecans.
Now how much of each are you using for this
I
pie?
use just a half a cup of each one.
Okay.
Okay, and we're just going to give that a quick mix too.
Okay.
And then we'll get the butter out of the freezer.
Okay. I'm good for you. I have one stick.
I'll let you give that a quick stir
There you go.
while I chop up the butter. And reach around here and grab them.
All right.
Now this butter is frozen, but you can use a little bit of softened butter.
I was gonna say, is it depend on? Is this is
Not
needy
as
for the?
crucial.
Okay. Okay.
But again, you just want to sliver it up some.
Okay. I think I've got it mixed okay. What do you think?
That looks perfect.
Awesome. So you're just cutting that into cubes again.
Yeah,
Correct?
Little tiny pieces. Okay, and we're going to throw it all in there. I think we could probably use the other half. Can't, there's no such thing as too much butter.
All right. I mean, that's my philosophy in life. Okay.
Okay, let's give it a quick stir again.
There we go. You want these
Make sure
completely kind of
all the-
doused?
Yeah, all the butter is completely coated. Okay, and this is where we get down and dirty again.
Woohoo! Been waiting. Okay, Cindy, so now that all the hard part's over and we're just about to get to the best part, which is the pie eating part,
That's the best.
I wanted to ask you about how you do the beautiful roses that you put on top of this pie. And you just told me now that it was the first time you had ever attempted to do that.
Yes.
And they were so beautiful. We were going crazy over it at the pie contest. So show us kind of how you do that.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple apple slices that are just left over, so we're just going to carve out the center.
Now these are the thicker pieces that we
The
did.
thicker pieces, yes.
And you've soaked them in water a little bit.
Just a little bit, just to keep them from turning brown. But we're going to turn them brown a little bit in the oven. So you see, it's just a flat wedge of apple. So we're just going to cut them as thin as we possibly can. Mandolin would have been magic. So we're going to do that. Yeah, it gets real close. But we're just going to take a little bit of parchment paper.
So how did you get the idea to make that? And have you done that on any of the other pies you've done in contests?
No, I make all kinds of decorations, whether it's letters on pies, like when I mix my pink lady apples and spy, northern spy apples.
Okay.
I call it Lady in the Spy.
Oh, cute.
So just to play on words. It depends what kind of contest it is, where it is, what they're looking for.
Just trying new things.
Just trying new things. And then what we would do is bake them in the oven on low heat, 250 or so, for about 10-15 minutes.
Just all by themselves?
Just all by themselves, just so they become very flexible and bendable, because right now they're not. They'll break, right. So once you get that, you just take your leftover pie dough, cut a couple of strips. I put a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of brown sugar, and start overlapping these. Fold it over, roll it up, bake them in the oven for about another 15-20 minutes.
That is brilliant. I don't even know how you would even think to do that.
This is why what you can find on the internet.
This is why you're the expert here. I mean, and they looked so good. They not only looked so presentable, like truly what you'd see on TV, but they tasted so good too. I mean, just look how beautiful this is. This is presentation to the max, and it is just as good tasting as it is looking. I am so happy I got to do this with you today.
Oh, I loved every minute of this
wait
with
to
you,
taste
Taylor.
I cannot wait to taste this again. This will be my second time eating this pie, and I could eat this
You're
pie
one
every
of
day.
the lucky few then.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying for it.
All right, well, let's cut into this pie. You can see how the rosettes turned out.
Beautiful.
You can
Stunning.
flip over the little tops of the apple slices. But yeah, they came out perfect.
And they're almost too pretty to eat. I just love
They're
them.
a dessert unto themselves.
They really are.
All right, so we're just going to cut into this. And if I hear you say, oh, just a little piece,
Oh no, give me a good piece of that pie. I worked for it after all.
You did. Always use a sharp knife. There's
Yeah.
nothing worse than cutting into a pie and hacking up the pieces.
Right, you don't want to like break it apart while you're trying to cut it.
No.
Luckily we've got a little
Pie server. See, and this is another thing about pie competitions as well, is you want that pie to hold together. Look at that, beautiful cut edges,
really is.
slices.
It doesn't fall apart.
It doesn't fall apart.
It's not hard, like, you know what I mean? It's not like all hardened, so it's the perfect mix. I'm gonna wait for you so we could eat them together.
All right.
And I will bet you it'll be just as good, if not better, than the first time I tasted it. Oh, it's so well done.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, so good. Cindy, oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming in and baking this with us.
Thanks for having me. This has been so much fun.
I'm sure we'll have to do another baking segment with you again, because
You're on.
if your other treats taste anything like this, we are in for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
And you guys are missing out. Sorry about it. But it is so good.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it.
I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
The disc golf course here at Riverbends Park has been part of the park for the last 30-some years. And for the disc golf world, it's one of the best places to come play here at Riverbends Park.
Score a goal, score a goal, yay!
Here at Riverbends Park, we have 27 holes.
There you go, buddy.
We have an upper area at Riverbends Park, and it drops down approximately 30 feet to the lower level. With that, we have great terrain here at Riverbends Park and along the Clinton River, which makes it one of the prettiest golf courses, disc golf courses in southeast Michigan.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lay up to the basket and take a 3. If I parked it, I parked it, but I'm not willing to risk a bogey.
Here at Riverbends Park, I personally feel one of the biggest draws is the way all the holes are cut through the beautiful tree-lined fairways here at Riverbends Park. This was once a state park. Back in the early 90s, the township received the park, and we have kept the disc golf course going. Also, there is a strong following in the disc golf world, and they have a group that they look to maintain the course along with our grounds department. We have a great relationship with them. We meet with them periodically. Anything they're looking for upgrades, we work with them, and it's just a great relationship we have. And that's what we call a community, where we can have different groups that we work with, and we work hand in hand for the betterment of recreation here in Shelby Township.
I like the views. It's nice. It's got a long park, good walks into the areas. I've never met an angry person out here. If it's hot enough and you're having a bad enough day, you know, you get a free dunk in the river to get a disc. But I've always come out here. This has always been like the closest big course that I have. You know, this is just one of those courses that I've always played, I've always enjoyed. It was like the first challenging course I came out to when I started playing, and it stuck with me, you know, 20 years later.
Well, the first thing I would say, if you're just getting started in the disc golf world, go to shelbytwp.org, go to Parks and Recreation, and under disc golf, you can print out a scorecard right there. So print that out, bring it here, and also there's a mobile app on there as well where you can keep score from your phone. So a lot of disc golfers do that. Once you pull into Riverbends Park, the 22-mile entrance, head to the south end of the parking lot and you'll see a pavilion, Maple View. Once you find that, you know you're really close. Get a parking spot. First hole starts right up top, and from there we have nice signage and at each tee marker to show you where to go. Disc golf is very similar to ball golf, where you will see the serious golfers, and I shouldn't say serious, the non-serious golfers as well, but they'll be carrying a cart around, and it could be something as just as like a dolly system, but they have a little suitcase on it. In that is all their different discs. You have one for driving, you have one for the irons, and then even putting. There's different weights, different sizes, different styles. So once you get to that point, you know you're hooked on disc golf. We do get calls quite often about what is the cost to play disc golf at Riverbends Park. There is no cost to enter the park, and there is no cost to play disc golf. So it's a free activity. So come on out here to Riverbends Park and please enjoy.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Anyway, we're over here at the Shelby Senior Center, and we're playing a little bit of euchre and other card games, and we're enjoying the camaraderie, and once in a while we win a little bit of money.
We charge $3 a person. We do have prize money for the highest winners there. Depending on how many players we have, we can end up to 5 payouts there. Payout isn't very much there, but everybody enjoys coming in and having fun. Usually get 5 to 8 tables playing euchre there every Tuesday of the month there, and we have a very good crowd here. People are relaxed, and we play a relaxed game. Basically, you get 5 cards, and over here we play partners. Every game, every new game, we pick a new partner. We deal around twice at the table. Each person does twice, and after that we add the points up, and then we go from there to the next table. The rules, we have house rules, and then we have standard euchre rules. We do have a sheet made up of the rules, so there's no confusion between different players.
Oh, I love it. I think it's just great. Thank goodness we can all be back enjoying all these games and activities.
Personally, I enjoy it very much.
It's been a long time since we were locked up, and everybody was anxious to get out and start playing again. Not only the euchre, but the pinochle also, which we play a couple times a month. We could always use more players if they have time to come out in the morning, and we welcome them.